A man has just survived a car accident. He tries to flag down passing drivers for help, but vehicles suddenly accelerate toward him. Confused, he approaches one of the cars. When he opens the door, he freezes at the horrifying sight. The female driver's eyes have turned white, showing no signs of life. Terrified, he calls the police. But when they ask for his name, he realizes he can't remember it. Even when looking at his own ID card, everything seems unfamiliar. Suddenly, a crow falls from the sky. Upon closer inspection, its condition mirrors the driver's exactly. Sensing danger approaching, the man flees the scene. He rushes into a nearby restaurant only to discover an even more chilling sight. Deathly silence fills the place as bodies lie scattered across the floor. Each one has the same white eyes and shows identical signs of death as the driver he encountered earlier. Just then, a noise comes from outside. Another car crashes uncontrollably at the restaurant entrance, its driver suffering the same fate. Suspecting something toxic in the air, the man tears off part of his shirt to cover his nose and mouth. He returns to a store to grab a map, then runs toward the forest. Following the information on his ID card, he eventually finds his house, though everything about it feels completely foreign. He has no recollection of ever living there. He spots a farmer in the distance and taps on the glass to warn him to leave immediately. The farmer notices and approaches the house to investigate, but after taking just a few steps, his eyes turn white and he collapses. Now convinced the air contains something deadly, the man quickly seals all windows with tape. While documenting the day's bizarre events, he hears crows continuously cawing outside. He doesn't understand how animals can survive in this air. With this question in mind, he ventures outside. The crows continue making noise, and as he slowly approaches them, they suddenly drop dead. He finally realizes what's happening. Taking a piece of string from the house, he measures the distance between himself and the dead crows. He then checks the spot where the farmer collapsed and makes a shocking discovery. Both died at exactly the same distance from him. He begins to wonder if he's the problem. Just then, he sees a car approaching from behind. Without hesitation, he runs back to his house, stopping only when he reaches a safe distance. The driver passes by without any issues. The cruel truth becomes unavoidable. He carries a death radius around him. He picks up his phone to call the police, but abandons the idea, realizing he couldn't explain if they accidentally died in his presence. Instead, he locks himself in a storage room. That night, he notices a woman approaching the house. While observing quietly, he accidentally kicks some tools, making noise that alerts her. He shouts warnings for her to leave, but surprisingly, she knows his name and continues to the door. The woman reveals she's also a car accident victim who has lost most of her memories. The only thing she remembers is the man's name, which led her here. Strangely, the man discovers his death radius has disappeared. To avoid frightening her, he doesn't mention his deadly condition. They share a common goal: to understand why they've lost their memories. The next day, they drive to the accident scene and find a massive black circle on the ground. When the man touches a branch, memories of the accident suddenly flood back. He urgently directs the woman to stand where she woke up after the crash and makes a startling discovery. The distance between them exactly matches his death radius. Could she somehow be connected to his condition? This gripping thriller called Radius will take you on a journey to uncover a breathtaking mystery. Don't miss it if you enjoy suspenseful stories.